Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, here's a few plants that I think you should be looking for in the coming year. I think these plants will be a great addition to any home garden. Let's start with a rose. Now, Lemon Fizz is a rose that is a deep yellow. It's non-fading, which makes it unique in yellows, because usually that's what happens to them. Glossy green foliage as a contrast to the yellow, and also high disease resistance. So I think you'll find that this plant may be very good for your home garden, because sometimes yellows just don't cut it when it comes to roses. Now, the Japanese forest grass. This is a neat grass. You see this once in a while in the ordinary styles that are available. And you'll see them more as a ground cover. They do like a lot of moisture. But at the same time, they don't want to be bogged down in water. So, a good moist organic soil. The one that I'm looking at is sunflower. Now, this is a Japanese forest grass used as a ground cover. It has chartreuse leaves with golden yellow through them. And that golden yellow has some infusion of deep crimson. So basically it's chartreuse, yellow, and crimson. That's pretty good. And it is quite sun tolerant. So a lot of them prefer shade. The great color will also change in the fall as it gets colder to a burnt orange and burgundy red. So you've got some change of color. You've got a unique ground cover, and one that will spread if it's given good organic soil. As a daylily, Lacy Dolly is a fragrant super bloomer. It's a mid-late summer bloomer. It produces a ton of double peach flowers with shades of apricot and coral. So it's got all of that. It's got a little bit of a ruffle to the edge of the petals on the flowers. And I think you'll find that it does very well in a sunny garden. So I would probably say that one is one you want to go and take a look for. Hydrangeas. There is a shrub hydrangea called Tilt-a-Swirl. Tilt-a-Swirl hydrangea is a bold red and green. It's a bicolor bloom. So each flower is got the bright red edges with the center being green. It blooms in bright red and green swirl, and it keeps on performing throughout the summer. So you've got a good, rich hydrangea with a little interest in it, and I think you'll like that one. You'll also find that it'll do well throughout the fall as well. So those are some of the plants I think you'll really like. I'm going to recommend a couple of others simply because there are so many available and you need to sort of tone it down and pick from these what's going to be suitable in your garden in those locations. The shrub spirea. Now, the shrub spireas were like the hydrangeas of old. In other words, there's a million of them, and they kept bringing on new ones and let's be honest, it got to a point where there was a lot of people who were bored with spireas. But this one's called candy corn. It starts with candy apple red foliage in the early spring, and then the color becomes rich and intense. As the season progresses, the color transforms into a pineapple yellow. The dark carmine purple flowers in late spring contrast well against the rest of the plant. And like most of the spireas, this is more of a compact, dense type spirea. So try those. There is, of course, I guess we have to more or less talk about the Canadian Shield Rose. This is a landscape rose. It's got lots of bright red flowers, glossy green foliage, disease resistance, and a good repeat bloomer throughout the growing gardening season. It is going to be large. It is going to be about 5 foot by about 3 to 4 feet across, and so you should pick your spot for it. Good disease resistant, and it's hardy across Canada. That sort of says everything right there. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.